Okay, be honest. When you picture a vulture, what do you see? I'm guessing it's something dark, maybe a little spooky, circling high in the sky, right? A sign that something bad has happened. Yeah, for pretty much all of history, they've been cast as the villains. But what if that whole story is completely backwards? What if this bird, the one famous for eating dead things, is actually one of the most important protectors of, well, us, the living? That's the big idea we're going to dig into today. So, yeah, are they the bad guys? Or have we just completely misunderstood them? To figure that out, we've got to get past this spooky reputation and look at the actual science behind these incredible birds. And when you do, you find out they're basically nature's ultimate cleanup crew. And I'm not kidding, they have some genuine biological superpowers that make them perfect for the job. It all starts with this number 1.0. What is that? That's the pH of a vulture stomach. Now, to give you an idea of how insane that is, it's actually more acidic than battery acid. This isn't just strong, it's literally the most acidic stomach in the entire animal kingdom, and it lets them do something unbelievable. I mean, look at this list. Anthrax, rabies, cholera, tuberculosis. These are some of the scariest diseases on Earth. And that super acidic stomach, it just completely destroys them. So when a vulture eats a carcass that's riddled with these pathogens, the diseases, they just stop. They hit a biological brick wall. It's a dead end, which means they can't spread any further. And their efficiency, it's just off the charts. A group of vultures can take a 100-kilogram carcass, that's over 200 pounds, and strip it clean to the bone in less than 30 minutes. Think about that. That speed is so important. Instead of a dead animal just lying there for days, rotting and becoming a breeding ground for all sorts of nasty bacteria, it's just gone, cleanly and safely removed from the environment. So for a really long time, we figured their main job in stopping diseases like anthrax was pretty simple. Just eat the infected animal, problem solved. But then a really clever experiment came along and presented this fascinating puzzle that, well, it changed everything we thought we knew. Okay, so here's the paradox. The old belief was that for anthrax to really become a problem in the environment, a scavenger had to rip open the carcass. That exposes the bacteria to the air, which lets it form these tough, long-lasting spores. Makes sense, right? But then, in this 2013 study, scientists in Namibia put cages around fresh anthrax carcasses to keep all the scavengers out, and what they found was mind-blowing. Even completely sealed off, those carcasses produced a massive amount of anthrax spores in the soil around them. We're talking up to 100 million spores per gram of soil. So wait a minute, the vultures weren't actually stopping the spores from forming in the first place? And that discovery just blew the whole thing open. It raises massive question. If vultures aren't stopping the contamination right at the source, then what is their real job? What good are they, really? And the answer, it turns out, is so much bigger and more important than we ever imagined. It's not about stopping one little bacteria. No, it's about managing an entire ecosystem of scavengers. Their true value is in something called the scavenger switch. This diagram here shows it perfectly. It's basically two paths the environment can take. Pathway A is the good one. That's what happens when you have a healthy vulture population. And pathway B, well, that's the dangerous road you go down when they disappear. Let's walk through it. All right, so in a healthy system, Pathway A, vultures are the undisputed champions of scavenging. They're at the top of their game. They're so incredibly good at what they do that they outcompete other scavengers, like feral dogs or jackals, and that naturally keeps those populations in check. So carcasses get cleaned up super fast, and the whole system stays healthy and balanced. But take the vultures out of the picture, and you get Pathway B, a system in total collapse. Suddenly, there's a power vacuum, and all these mammalian scavengers, the dogs, the jackals, their populations explode to fill that empty space. The problem is, they are way less efficient, so carcasses lie around rotting for much longer. And even worse, you have all these mammals now fighting over the food, which means more bites, more scratches, more contact, and that creates a literal superhighway for viruses like rabies to spread, from animal to animal, and eventually to people. So, you see, the vulture's true superpower isn't just what happens inside its stomach. It's about preventing the spread of disease across the entire landscape. They do that by controlling the numbers and the behaviors of other animals. They're not just janitors. They are full-on ecosystem managers. Now, this isn't just some theory on a chart. That dangerous pathway, It's a terrifyingly accurate prediction of what has actually happened in the real world. And to see the absolutely devastating cost of losing vultures, we need to look at India. Okay, get this. Since the 1990s, India has seen a 95% drop in its vulture population. I mean, that's a catastrophic collapse. And the main culprit? A veterinary anti-inflammatory drug called diclofenac. It was totally fine for the cattle it was given to, but it's deadly poison to any vulture that feeds on that cow's carcass. It causes complete kidney failure. And the results were exactly what that diagram predicted. In the areas where vultures disappeared, carcasses started taking 3 times longer to decompose. This wasn't just an eyesore, it created these festering open-air labs for disease to multiply. And without the vultures there to keep them in check, the feral dog population just exploded. This led directly to a massive rabies epidemic. Today in India, an estimated 20,000 people die from rabies every single year, mostly from dog bites. Think about that, a massive public health crisis directly linked to the loss of a bird. And you can even put a price tag on their work. One study estimated that in just 3 southern African countries, the sanitation and disease prevention services that vultures provide are worth over $250 million US. And that's annually. That's every single year. So once you understand how incredibly valuable they are, it becomes so much more urgent to deal with the threats they're facing. This fight to save our sky janitors, it's not just about saving a bird species. It's a critical fight for our own health and the health of the entire planet. And the threats they face are just huge. Poisoning is still the #1 danger. And it's not just from leftover veterinary drugs. It's also from poachers who will intentionally poison a carcass. And you might wonder, why would they do that? Well, it's to kill the vultures that would otherwise circle overhead and basically act like a giant arrow pointing rangers right to their illegal kill. On top of that, they're dealing with electrocution from power lines, collisions, and just massive habitat loss. And this right here, this shows you just how devastating a single event can be. Vultures feed together, in big groups, so one poisoned carcass can kill over 500 of them. Just one. A single poisoned elephant could wipe out a massive portion of an entire region's vulture population in one afternoon. It's just staggering. But it's not all doom and gloom. There is hope. Conservationists have fought hard and successfully pushed for bans on drugs like diclofenac in parts of Asia, and some really creative solutions are popping up, like these vulture restaurants. They're basically safe feeding sites where local farmers can bring their livestock that they know are drug-free, the vultures get a clean, safe meal, and the community gets a reliable way to dispose of carcasses. It's a total win-win. So, we're back where we started. Vultures aren't the villains of the story. They're a free, highly specialized, planet-wide public health service. They turn death back into life, and they stop pandemics before they can even start, and they don't ask for a thing in return. So it leaves us with this one last thought. Nature's janitors work for free. What's the real cost of firing them?